And now we're going to learn a little bit about libraries in Hadoop that have to do with workflows and data connections. And the first one we're going to take a look at is something called Oozie. They all have these funny names, but we're going to explore them in a little bit of detail here. So Oozie is a workflow scheduler library that's used to schedule one or more Hadoop jobs on a regular basis. You can use it one time, but it's most often used in production environments to schedule reoccurring jobs. So it's kind of like the SQL Server agent, but a little bit more sophisticated in that you can glue together or combine different types of jobs. So in some ways, it's more like SQL Server integration services or Informatica or an Oracle ETL tool. What kind of jobs are often scheduled with Oozie? Well, really, there's a large number of them, and we haven't covered all of the Hadoop libraries at this point in the course. So I thought I would just show some of the libraries that we have covered being scheduled by Oozie. Now, this is kind of an academic exercise because you would normally just run the individual HQL script or the pig script, but it kind of will give you the sense of what Oozie is capable of without getting into so much complexity. As I mentioned, you can schedule based on time or other factors such as changes in the data. And this is most commonly scheduled around new data arrival into an HDFS cluster. So native Oozie is written with a command line, and it's written around jobs and bundles, which are groups of jobs. It has a syntax as you would expect, starting with the word Oozie, and then you have various options that you can do: start, stop, suspend, resume, info, so on and so forth. You'll see when we get into the interface that the jobs are referred to by the job number. So I'll point this out. This is something I haven't mentioned to date in this course, and it is kind of important when we start to schedule jobs. Now, most people use some kind of a tool to work with Oozie because the core syntax is XML, and most of us do not want to write job scheduling in XML. So for the purposes of showing you, I'm going to again use the Cloudera Hue browser, which is a pretty simplified version of what can be done with Oozie, but it is a lot better than writing XML. So before we take a look at the Hue browser, I'm going to just make a couple points from my production experience about optimizing Oozie workflows. When you pick up a vendor distribution for Hadoop, which you usually will use in production, you want to look at that vendor's implementation of Oozie if you're going to use it. For example, if you use Hortonworks, one of the things that they advertise is that they have a better scheduler, so an improved scheduler than what Oozie offers. And that can sometimes be important in your particular situation. So this can be one of your decision vectors when you're trying to figure out which vendor to use or which tool. Another thing you can do is you could actually use an alternative product. Now, most of those alternative products do cost money, so they're going to add cost. But some of the customers that I've worked with prefer to use a tool that they find to be in a more complete state, particularly in the graphical user interface implementation. And some of the ones that I've worked with are Luigi or Azkaban.